Hi, I'm Amy Richardson. Welcome to my presentation called Moving Forward, and it's based on my article review that I read 3 articles about organizational trust. The other one included teacher leadership, and the last one that I read included a look on the inside. So the first one that I read was organizational trust, and in order for you to know whether or not you have organizational trust at your school, you have to ask yourself, does my organization enable teachers to grow in professional development? And a lot of times that if you want to think a little bit smarter and work smarter, not harder, base your professional development on your county's or your school's needs. Another question that you would need to ask yourself is, does it enable teachers to receive feedback from administrators? Once teachers, if they're able to receive feedback from their administrators, then they usually walk away with things that they need to polish or to improve upon. And so then the administrator will come back and see if they have improved upon it. That's how we improve our craft. Another question that you could ask yourself to see if you have organizational trust is, does my organization enable teachers to be confident with instructional practices? So in other words, teachers need to be able to feel safe enough to try new practices in their room. Another article that I read was about teacher leadership, and it also included a lot of the same concepts as my first article. One of the things that it had mentioned was the opportunity to develop best teaching practices, and again it also mentioned the fact that it needs to be a safe environment for the teachers to try new things that they take away from their learning. And the teacher also has to realize that they own the roles in best teaching and learning conditions. The teacher is the choreographer. The teacher is the designer of that creative learning experience. And once they take ownership of that, then the sky is the limit. And then another important thing that it also mentioned, like the first article, is the ongoing dialogue with feedback, whether it be from an administrator or an instructional coach, with planning and reflecting. That ongoing dialogue is very important in teacher leadership. So a look on the inside. I really enjoyed this article, and this was research based on showing what we are doing at my current school situation. This is kind of what we follow, the process in which we follow. So the first step is to realize that there are no quick fixes. There are lots of programs out there that would love to take your money and say, if you buy our program, this will fix whatever your situation is, and it's not. The best thing that we can do is we can look within. Once we look at our data, whether it be discipline data, attendance data, any kind of formative assessment or student evidence, we look within that, and then we figure out where the needs lie, and we figure out what strategies we would need to implement. Then the administrator, other teachers can do learning walks to see what those practices are doing and to see whether or not they're working or not. Of course, we need to give the students an assessment, which would analyze data again. Once we give them an assessment, we need to see if it's working or not, and then take a plan of action, and then the process starts all over again. So my current school setting, those are some of the practices that we are beginning to implement, and I'm looking forward to January whenever we can see if they are working or not, and if they do not work, then we're going to have to take another plan of action. So just to wrap it up, to have organizational trust, you will allow your teachers to grow and develop. They will create learning conditions and creative learning conditions, and they'll also implement analyzing data and then taking action based upon that data. And thank you for listening this evening. I hope you have a nice afternoon.